it up. Right, clap it up. Shalom. Yo, Bashim Yosha Brakadam to the brothers. Wa Yehoshua Maladam Bashim Yosha to the Aquatium. We are the ISUPK, started out 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under the command of General Yohana. We teach that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true Hebrew Israelites of the Bible. The Most High God's chosen people. Okay. We'll run through a few of the classes that what we've got going on in the school in the week, Monday to Saturday, Saturday to Friday, and then we're going to go straight into tonight's class. So Monday night is the law class, Tuesday night is the brotherhood class, Wednesday night is the history class, Thursday night is the scripture breakdown class, Friday night we've got the Lashuan Kodash class. All classes from 7 till 9. The live classes in the school where the public are welcoming our brothers, our sisters, so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Indians, is a Monday night law class tonight. Wednesday night history class, and the Thursday night scripture breakdown class. Okay, on the Friday night Lashuan Kodash class, straight afterwards from 9 till 11, we have our podcast, our radio show on the ends. Saturday morning, we have a Saturday morning Sabbath service in the school from 10 to 11. Then from 12 till 5 o'clock approximately, we hit the pavement, we hit the concrete for street camp. Every fortnight, this is fortnightly, so we'll have one a month in Leicester Central, that's Leicester City Centre by the clock tower, and then the next street camp will be Birmingham Central at the bottom of the ramp at the Bull Ring, and that's in Birmingham City Centre, and that's alternative weeks, Leicester Birmingham, the street camp, and that's from 12 till 5. The address of the school is 394 Lodge Road, Hockley, Birmingham. You know the postcode, Moser?
B185PW.
Let's say the postcode into the mic.
We are 394 Lodge Road, Birmingham.
No, just postcode. I've already given that.
B185PW.
That's B185A.
PW.
5PW. That's the postcode. Any of our people, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, want to attend the school for the live classes in the school from 7 till 9. That's Monday night law class, Wednesday night history class, Thursday night scripture breakdown class. And with that being said, without further ado, we're going to break out straight into tonight's class. Okay, so the topic tonight is we, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, jail makes us Muslim. Jail turns us Muslim. Why do we say that? Moza, why do we say that jail makes our people Muslim?
Because most of our brothers have been introduced to that religion in the jail. Because, you know, they're being intimidated and these things, this garbage is forced upon us. What do you call that? This broken cistern. Continue to pour water, the wrong kind of water, you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's very interesting and agreeable. But there's a bit more to it. You see, what denomination are we raised in? The bulk of our people, Christianity. Okay, so it's over 75% of our people are born and raised in the Caribbean islands and the Americas, Central and South America, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in the Baptist church, in Christianity. Some of us might be in a Pentecostal church, Seventh-day Adventists. Some of us are in the Church of England, Protestant, Catholic, and some of us are in gospel churches, but 75% of us are in the Christian, are raised in the Christian church, and a large bulk of that is in the Baptist church.
Yeah, the Pocomania church, a lot of people went to likewise.
Can't.
Then a
But-
revival thing.
Can't. But my experience, from what I understand and what I know, the way I was raised in the Baptist church, is that we're raised in Christianity, which most of our young lives, which has no idea of what's going on in our records, the Bible. We listen. You don't need to be a diplomat or have a degree to know or understand even out of this truth, out of the ISUPK under the command of General Yohana, being and living in that wicked world, that there's something not right with Christianity. There's something wrong with the doctrine we're taught. And another thing, a thing that I noticed when I was at school and a young man in the Baptist church, a young boy in the Baptist church, is our pastor never really read from the Bible. He never brought no scriptures to the service, the Sunday service. And he was always talking of opinions and how he felt and how the community was feeling. We never really learned the Bible. So you got something for us, Moses?
And most of all, these Christian pastors always have some story to tell about some long ancient foolishness when they have nothing to do what he come to church to say. Teach the law, statutes, and commandments. Some story about this brother down the road and this brother had this problem and all kind of things, and then he turn it into a preaching session. Then he start asking for offering and offering and tithes and all kind of things. And they make two clap, church over.
So right. So the thing is, though, the thing I want to touch on is there's a time where a large bulk of us get tired of this the Christian denomination and the religion and the way it teaches us, takes us from being young boys and grows us into men. And really, we're not learning anything in that Christian church. So the reason of the topic tonight is what happens to a large bulk of our young men, and then it's passed on to our sisters and our children, is a lot of us have been to jail. And I'm talking about your so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and predominantly in the UK. Okay, we go to jail, or a lot of our people end up in jail, and regardless what crime you're convicted of. And what happens is when we go to jail, we're so sick of this, the oppressor's slave doctrine called Christianity. We meet a lot of melanated people in jail, or brown-skinned people in jail, called Arabs and East Indians and Pakistan, which are East Indians that are Muslim. Okay, and what we make an uneducated decision when we go to jail, to leave one lie and head straight into another. So what the general thinking of is the young Benjamite in the UK, for example, is going to jail, sick and tired of the Christianity and the Christian church that he was raised in, and there's so many the so-called white faces that he has been raised around in that Christian church. He might have been in a predominantly black church, but at some point he would have been involved with a lot of so-called Europeans in his church. And whichever church he would relate to, because these churches have amalgamations and they join other people's churches for congregations, and especially in their fake feast days like Christmas and Easter, they amalgamate churches. So what you'll have is a lot of mixed churches with one white church and one black church, Baptist church, coming together. And our people end up in jail, you so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, and a lot of Benjamites that are in the UK see brown faces in Islam and think to yourself, okay, this is the religion for me. I shouldn't be in this slave white man's religion. This is the black man's religion, Islam. And this is where we're making the fundamental mistake. This is the problem with our people. We're jumping out of one lie straight into another. We're jumping out of the hot boiling kettle into the fire. And this is where we're messing up and getting it all wrong. Okay, so I want to read something to you, yeah? Because this denomination called Islam, we're going to show you tonight how close and similar it is to Christianity. There is no real difference between the two. The only real difference is Islam decided to add a false prophet to their doctrine. And we all know who that is. It's a false prophet called Muhammad. So they have fake feast days when we have real feast days according to our records, the Holy Bible, King James Version. So I'm just going to read something to you, the origins of their feast days. So the origins of Eid are rooted in Islamic tradition, where Prophet Muhammad, so-called prophet, we know he's not one of our prophets, established two major festivals, Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, in Medina after Hijrah, the migration from Mecca, around 624 BC or CE, whatever you want to call it. Okay, this was CE or AD, whatever you want to call it. We know that's after death, after Christ's era, or common era. Okay, they say CE meaning common era, but really the way they used to say it was AD, after death, after the death of Hamashiach Yahushua, aka Jesus Christ. Eid al-Fitr was introduced to celebrate the end of the fasting month of Ramadan, replacing two pre-Islamic festival days. Eid al-Adha commemorates the Prophet Ibrahim, who we know and the scriptures call Abraham or Abraham's willingness to sacrifice his son as an act of obedience to Yahweh, to God, to the Most High God. Now, we know from the story in the book of Genesis that Isaac was going to be sacrificed by his father Abraham, who found favor with the Most High God. Now, this was a test to see if he loved God and if he feared God. And he was proven both. He proved himself in both aspects. He loved God and feared God. And then at the last minute, the angel came and visited Abraham and stopped him from killing Isaac. There's no mention of Islam in this story. There's no mention of Muhammad in this story.
That's right.
Eid itself, this fake celebration, this fake feast day that is not recorded, that's not in our records. There's no mention of it. Okay, so let's see. We've seen where it comes from, and it's from a seventh century doctrine that was given to the world by a false prophet called Muhammad in 624. Okay, in the 7th century. Okay, Muhammad, this is the era of Muhammad's life. Do we all follow this? So furthermore, let's just see if there's any mention of Eid in our records. You got something for us, Moses?
And most of all, to confirm that he's a false prophet, he died before anything that he said would make sense.
There you go. He died before anything that he said, which, like you say, didn't make sense. But let's have a look at this. Okay. Okay, so we're in African slavery. We're in the Egyptian captivity. Pharaoh's got us. The Most High God brings hell on earth to Egypt. He brings pandemics. He brings pandemonium. He brings death and destruction. He turns the river Nile red with blood. He kills off all the firstborn with the angel of death. And we put we put the blood of the sacrificial lamb on our doorsteps and posts, and he flies over, the angel of death flies over all the Israelite homes and houses, and goes and kills off and destroys all the firstborn of the Egyptian families, the Egyptian parents. They lose their firstborn. Okay, so the Most High God does all this for us, for his people, and then we're given a high holy feast day. And guess what, Moses? It's not called Eid.
That's right.
Let's have a look. Get me Exodus 12 and 11, Baba Kashar. Okay, read that when you're ready, Baba Kashar.
Okay. The book of Exodus 12, verse 11. And thus shall he eat it, with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hands.
Okay, what shall we eat with our loins girded?
The Passover bread.
The Passover meal, not the Passover bread, the Passover meal. And what is the Passover meal?
The lamb.
Lamb.
The bread without unleavened.
Unleavened bread.
Right.
What's the lamb seasoned with?
And it's seasoned with bitter herbs.
Bitter herbs. Okay, read on. And
ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
Okay, so and your staff in your hand, and ye shall eat it in haste. Why must we eat it in haste?
Because we are leaving Egypt.
We're leaving Egypt. We're on the run. We're fleeing from Pharaoh's
persecution,
military band and persecution. And read that last part, Baba Kashar.
Ye shall eat it in haste. It is the Lord's Passover.
No, it's Eid.
It's the Lord's Passover.
No, it's Muhammad's new feast days.
It is the Lord's Passover.
It is the Lord's Passover. Where does Eid come into this? Get me, drop to Exodus 12 and 14. Just drop down a few verses.
The book 14. Of Exodus 12, verse 14. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial.
This day shall be a memorial. What does the word memorial mean?
Memory.
In remembrance, in memory. Read on.
And ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord
throughout
so the all
Passover
your generations.
Will be kept as a feast to the Lord our God, the one true God. And there's no mention of Muhammad here. There's no mention of Allah, and there's no mention of Eid. Read on.
And keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generation.
Read that from and ye shall. And ye shall keep it a feast to the Lord throughout your generations. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. Read that from the top, Bob.
Exodus 12, verse 14. And this day shall be unto you for a memorial, and ye shall keep it a feast of the Lord throughout your generation. Ye shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever.
No, just until Muhammad comes along.
Forever.
No, just until Muhammad comes along and gives us a new feast day called Eid.
Forever.
Forever. What is difficult about this? So-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Why are we in that mosque? Our feast day, the Passover, the real feast day of the Most High God, not Eid. No mention of Eid in our records. But the Passover is an ordinance forever. It's a feast day that we should honor and keep forever. How do you expect? This is a law. This is in the book of Exodus. This is a law. There's no law recorded in the book of Exodus, in Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, or Deuteronomy, the law book. There's no records of us being told to keep Eid. But we go to jail. We're so tired of one lie, we jump into Islam. This is what we do. This is what we do. And it happens time and time again. So many of you blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians have ended up in Islam, a damn lie. Why? Because you ended up in jail. And if you'd have fixed up and you'd have been in the ISUPK under the command of General Yana, keeping these laws, statutes, and commandments, you'd have never gone jail in the first place. Never. Give me Genesis 16 and 12, Baba Kashar.
Okay.
If we was not going jail and we was keeping our traditions and we knew our records and we knew who we were and we was keeping the laws of the Most High God and living in obedience, what's the odds of us ending up in them jailhouses?
0.
What's the chances of us ending up in bad cage?
0.
What's the chances of us ending up in their hell houses?
Never.
Never. 0. Zilch.
Khan.
We'd be living too damn tidy to end up in their jails, in their prisons. And this is what happens. We end up in their prisons. We see brown faces in Islam and are fooled and are tricked to join in them, thinking this is our religion. Look, there's other brown faces in there. There's too many white faces in that one, in Christianity, but there's a lot of more brown faces in Islam. That's where we belong because I'm brown. There's no method to that madness. And madness it is. Read that, Baba Kishore.
Genesis 16 verse 12, huh?
Genesis 16 and 12, Baba Kishore.
Khan. The book of Genesis 16 verse 12. And he will be a wild man.
Who? Read that again.
Khan. And he will be a wild man.
Okay, so Abraham had 2 sons. What were their names?
Isaac and Ishmael.
What was Abraham's 2 sons' names?
Ishmael and Isaac.
Ishmael and Isaac. Read.
Khan.
One of them was a wild man. Who is this talking about? Read on.
His hand will be against every man, and every man hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. 12.
That's verse 12.
Right?
Okay, read that again, Baba.
Khan. The book of Genesis 16 verse 12. And he will be a wild man.
And he, Ishmael. This is talking about Isaac's brother, Ishmael. So you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians, according to our records, are from the loins of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. This is Isaac, the son of Abraham's brother, Ishmael. This is Isaac's brother, Ishmael. The Bible says he's a wild man, meaning he lacked patience and humbleness. He was not a humble man, and he was not a patient man. But guess who was humble and patient?
Isaac.
And this is the brother out of the 2 that Abraham favored. Read on.
Khan. And his hand will be against every man.
And his hand will be against every man. These Arabs are goddamn warmongers. They're warmongers, but where we used to go to war, especially in the era of King David, we'd go to war for righteousness. We'd go to war for land. We'd go to war for an inheritance. We'd go to war for the Most High God. These Ishmaelites, these Arabs that come from the seed of Ishmael, these Islamic people, these Islamic, the nation of Islam, these Islamic nations, they go to war because they're wild, because they lack patience, because they lack humbleness, and most of them are bullies. Doesn't this sound like someone we already know?
That's right.
This sounds like the so-called oppressor to me. So you're going to jail, you blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians. You're jumping out of one oppressor's false lies and doctrine into another. You got something, Mosa?
Come on, Khan. And when we go to war, as the priest says, we go to war for righteousness. We also go to war to make sure the other nation stay in their place. It's not like no, everybody want to conquer, everybody want to rule, and everybody want to establish their own fake, lying, deceptive religion.
If you go to Genesis chapter 22 and verse 1 to 12, you'll see we're not going to get, if we've got time at the end, we'll go through the 22nd chapter of Genesis. The Most High tests Abraham, the story of Abraham having to sacrifice Isaac. And Abraham was a good man. Abraham was a solid man. Abraham was a man of faith, a man of God. He believed everything he was told by the Most High God, and he acted on it. He wasn't about to disobey the Most High God. But if you lack patience and lack humbleness, you are not about to abide by the laws of the Most High God. And that's what we find in Islam. Islam comes from the loins of a man that was wild, impatient, and lacked humbleness. And you can see it in their people today, strapping bombs to themselves and blowing up anything that moves, from cattle to their ops.
For a fake promise of 75.
There you go. You hit it on the head. For a fake promise in a fake land called Mecca, where you bow to a stone. You bow to idols. And this is what we want, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. Is this really what we want? This was never meant for us. It's not our thing. It's not for us. There's no mention of it in our records. Why are we in that mosque? Why are we up in these fake feast days? Why do we have anything to do with Eid? Why are we following these liars? These profane liars, nothing to do. They do not know the Most High God, and the Most High God is not dealing with them. So why do we want to deal with them? We have our God, we have our records, we have the truth, the home of the truth, the ISUPK under the command of General Yohana. When will we start thinking for ourselves? They use our. It's not hard to see that the Quran is a watered down version of the Bible. They even take our precepts to try and enhance their lie. Get me Deuteronomy 18 and 18, Baba Kashar. Because your imam who's a fake priest, another false prophet in that mosque, he breaks down Deuteronomy 18 and 18. I've battled some of these imams over Deuteronomy 18 and 18, and this is what they come up with. They want you to believe, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that are stuck up in that mosque, that this precept is a prophecy regarding their false and fake prophet Muhammad. Deuteronomy 18 and 18. But we know in our records who this precept is really about. Read that, Baba Kushner.
Khan, the book of Deuteronomy 18, verse 18. I'll raise them up a prophet from among their brethren.
Okay, so here are the records of Moses giving us a warning and prophecy of the coming of someone. Who's he giving us prophecy and warning of the coming of who? Read on, Baba Kushner.
Khan, like unto thee, I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him.
Okay, and this is this is what your imam, this is what the imam, I say your imam. Let me reword that, because he's not your imam or our imam. He's the imam. He's a false prophet. He's got absolutely nothing to do with our records or our people or our God, the one true God of Israel. Okay, so he'll raise up a prophet from amongst his brethren. Okay, these are Moses's record. Who was Moses's brethren? What was Moses' nationality? Because he wasn't an Egyptian, even though he was raised as an Egyptian. What was his nationality?
Israelite.
He was a Hebrew Israelite. That was Moses' birthright. That was his nationality. And the Most High God will raise up a prophet from his brethren, from Moses' nationality. What tribe was Moses from?
Moses was from Judah?
Tribe of
No,
Levi.
Levite.
Yeah. What tribe was Jesus Christ from?
Judah.
The tribe of Judah. The tribe of Levi and the tribe of Judah, what nationality were they both?
The tribe of Israel.
They were Israel. They were tribes that came from Israel. Their birthright was Israel. Their nationality was Israel, not Ishmael, not the Arabs. They were not Ishmaelites, like your imam would, like the imam would try to have you believe. Read that again, Babu Kishore.
Khan. The book of Deuteronomy 18, verse 18. I'll raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee, and I'll put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I shall command him.
So here's Moses giving us a prophecy of Christ coming one day, okay? But your imam tries to use this to push a false prophecy of the coming of Muhammad. There's no mention of Muhammad in Moses' records. And if there is, any one of you Muslims, get in touch before the class is over at 9 o'clock. Come in, let's have a conversation. You show us, you give us your precept, show us where we can read about Muhammad in the first 5 books in the Bible, in the records of the prophet Moses, because we guarantee it's not there. We guarantee this. This is a prophecy about Jesus Christ. This is a prophecy not about Muhammad. This has got nothing to do with Islam. Islam was not even around when Moses was recording these books. When Moses was writing the Torah, there was no, in fact, these Arabs were worshipping a moon. Their God was the moon and the sun in these times. That's who these Arabs were worshipping. They had a moon god and a god that was the sun god. Have you got something, Mosa?
Khan. And before they called it Islam, it was called the Saracens. That's what the religion was called, Saracens.
There you go.
So during those times where they were worshiping 300 idols, it was the Saracens. I can't remember the other name before it turned Islam, but I know that they also call their religion Saracens.
But this is what we're saying. This is why our people. This is why we've got to get in one of the local schools in the ISUPK and stay the hell out of jail. Because if we was not going to jail, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we would not end up in this nonsense called Islam.
That's right.
There's no doubt there's probably 2% of us that go to Islam from on road. We're influenced by our Arab neighbors, our Pakistan workmates and colleagues, but 98% of us that, and this is not a stat that's factual. So let me just say that, because this is a law class and we are teaching. We're not going to lead you astray. But when I try to comprehend and fathom Islam, and my understanding from when I was young, jail puts us into Islam. The majority of our young men go to Islam and become attracted to Islam, especially in the time of their fake feast days, Eid, because you get out your cell more. You get a different selection of food, which is not our food, it's their food. You get to go to their mosques in jail, and I guess it's more association time, and you're not locked up, and you're seeing these brown faces and you're rebelling against Christianity, where you believe there was too many white faces, And there is. But guess what? Them brown faces that are in the mosque and in Islam are not your people. They're the same devils that you ran from in Christianity, the oppressor. There's not a lot of difference between the two. And if you check out the transatlantic slave trade, the Arabs were the ones that taught the world slavery in the first place. So you've got one oppressor that's given birth to a new oppressor. You got something, Moser.
But if those fake Arab, those fake Muslims, because most of war in the West right now is not even Arabs, are Elamites. And you know what? They are so stupid, just like the Arabs. They don't understand what the book of Exodus 21 says. If a man steal a man and sell him, and he be found in your hand, prepare slaughter for your generation of people and your children. So you must understand, you think you're recruiting for the better, for numbers, but they are going to be found in your hand when the Most High come. So you're going to have to explain how they get in your hand and still in your hand.
Damn right.
So
Damn
keep
right.
recruiting and things. So you're doing great. We're gonna have to tell you this more than one time for you got to understand. You're creating a serious suicide mission.
Excuse the pun. Suicide mission. Excuse Moses' pun. Excuse his punchline. Give me Galatians 1 and 8, Bobby, because shut up. Okay, so okay, who wrote the book of Galatians? The Apostle Paul. Okay. These Muslims, their story of how Islam came about. This guy Muhammad, who was a recorded, let's not forget he was a recorded pedophile. Yeah. Let's not pull our punches. He married a 9-year-old girl. Okay, so their excuse, okay, the Arabs, the Ishmaelites, the Pakistan Muslims, the East Indians, the Islamic converts, their defense for Muhammad is he was living in a different time. They lived in a time where there was no age laws. But in Israel, the men of Israel never married 9-year-old girls, but the Arabs did. And you want to justify that with saying there was no laws? We had laws. We had laws, statutes, and commandments. It would have been illegal in any era, in any time, to marry a 9-year-old girl, much less a girl that was in Israel, because that wasn't happening in Israel. But in the Arab countries, guess what? It was happening. And here's a perfect example. Your fake prophet was married to a 9-year-old girl. Okay? She hadn't even had time to make her bodily changes. Do you understand? And start to embrace and enter womanhood. She hadn't even started a period at this age. So where the hell you get off defending this guy called Muhammad, saying that it was a different era? It was a general thing that happened. No, in Israel, a man would not have gave his 9-year-old daughter for wedlock, for marriage. That would not have happened in Israel. So your excuses and your defense for this pedophile called Muhammad are weak. And that's not a general observation. That's a fact. This is a fact. Our men, our fathers, the adult men in Israel, the Hebrew Israelites from all 12 tribes would never have given away their 9-year-old daughter to hand in marriage. Do we all understand this? Okay, and where do you think the world's laws and legislation and acts come from in the first place?
Book of the Bible.
Okay, the law book which Moses wrote. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus, Numbers, and Deuteronomy. The laws, 613 laws. And there was no way, if you was keeping the moral laws and the civil laws, and you loved and you was keep the laws of brotherhood, there was no way you was taking a man's 9-year-old daughter and marrying her. That wasn't happening in Israel. So your defense is weak. Islam's defense for Muhammad being a pedophile is weak. Do you understand? At best.
That's right.
Galatians 1 and 8. Read that for me, Baba.
The book of Galatians 1 verse 8. But though we are an angel from heaven, preaching any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you.
And there you go. The Islamic doctrine that Gabriel visited Muhammad in a cave is completely crushed and destroyed by the Apostle Paul here. Gabriel came to Muhammad in a cave. Muhammad had an epiphany, woke up. Gabriel gave him the Quran. He spoke the Quran. He went from Medina to Mecca and taught it. But the Apostle Paul crushes that doctrine. He crushes that ideology right here. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
Galatians 1 verse 8. But though we are an angel from heaven.
Okay, so now we are an angel. Who was Gabriel? He was an angel from heaven. He was one of God's most important angels, a loyal servant to the Most High God. Read on.
Preaching any other gospel.
Preaching Islam's okay.
Preaching any other gospel.
Celebrating Eid's okay.
Preaching any other gospel.
Putting your trust in a fake prophet, false prophet called Muhammad's okay.
Preaching any other gospel.
Read on.
Unto you than that which we have preached. Unto you, let him be accursed.
Hold it right there. So if we're to believe in the doctrine of Muhammad, if we're to believe in Islam, if we're to believe in their unholy Quran, we're to believe that Gabriel was a demon. Gabriel was a liar. Gabriel went against the Most High God, his Father, our Father, which art in heaven. Where is that in our records? We go in on Christianity every week, but I'm telling you right now, yeah, Islam has got so much to answer for. Islam is just beyond demonic. If we believe, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that go to jail and convert to Islam and come out and push it on your wives while she's visiting you, and your wife's going home and pushing Islam on your children, you've got something to answer for. You've got a lot to answer for, because you know what? Read Galatians 1 and 8. The Islamic doctrine is denouncing Gabriel right here. The Apostle Paul is telling us, if there's any other gospel apart from the gospel we've been given, Moses, Jeremiah, Ezekiel, Isaiah, Obadiah, Zephaniah, Zechariah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John the Revelator, Jesus the Christ. If there's any other gospel that our teachers, our prophets uttered or spoke about, it's a goddamn lie. And here we have Muhammad saying that Gabriel came to him and gave him a new gospel called Islam, called the unholy Quran. Doesn't make any sense.
That's right.
And we know from our records, Angel Gabriel was a loyal servant. He never went and visited this false prophet called Muhammad. What really happened was Muhammad was chilling with Negroes, with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in the hills of Medina, where we were scattered to, not so far from Israel. And he would sit as a 9-year-old kid from 9 till 12, studying and listening to our doctrine, the truth, the ISUPK, the ISUPK under the kind of genuine hand of the One West doctrine, taught from our school since 1969, that's never changed. The same laws, statutes, and commandments that are in our records, The same law that was taught by Ezekiel, Isaiah, Moses, Jeremiah, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Jesus the Christ, Hamashiach, Yahushai in the Hebrew. This has never changed. The truth has never changed. Our records do not change. But you go to jail and you want to change everything and turn everything upside down and on its head because you've met other brown faces in jail and you're sick of Christianity. This is about the closest to the truth you're going to get. This is how we end up in Islam. We don't love Islam. Read what the Apostle Paul says again in Galatians 1 and 8.
Book of Galatians 1 verse 8. But though we are an angel from heaven, preaching any other gospel unto you.
Preach, not preaching, preach.
Preach any other gospel unto you than that which we have preached unto you, let him be accursed.
Let him be accursed. Muhammad's cursed. Islam is cursed. Your imams are cursed. You want to stay in that mosque and be cursed? You want to stay in jail and go to the mosque and celebrate Eid and be cursed? The Apostle Paul said, if you keep and teach any other gospel other than our records, you're accursed. It's over. It's a done deal. You're finished. Draw the curtains. Good night, Islam. Good night. It's over. And there's no way you can wriggle out of this. This is mentioned in the law. This is mentioned in the records of the Apostle Paul. This is New Testament. This is Old Testament. This is biblical. These are our records. Anybody caught preaching or teaching a new gospel, a separate gospel to our records is a damn liar. Period. There's no two ways about this. Give me Malachi 3 and 6, Baba Kashar. There's no two ways about this. There is one gospel, and it's called the truth. And you'll find the home of the truth in the ISUPK under the command of General Yohana. We'll never get sick of teaching you this, but we're getting sick of you guys thinking you know better and staying in that mosque and staying in that Christian church and doing whatever the hell you want to do and teaching your children this nonsense. We've got these records for a reason. They're never going to change. The gospel is never going to change, Israel. Ever. It's not going to change. No matter what you want to follow or believe, your Rastafarian elders, other brown faces in a fake false denomination or religion, the gospel of God is never going to change. The gospel of the Most High God, it's never going to change. It's never going to alter. Not one little bit. Have you got that, Baba Kishore?
The book of Malachi 3 verse 6. For I am the Lord, I change not.
No. I've decided to add a Arab prophet to my Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian prophets.
For I am the Lord, I change not.
No, I change not, but I'm going to add a little bit of Islam and water down the truth.
For I am the Lord, I change not.
The Most High God changes not. He don't change his mind. The Most High God don't change his mind. And this is definitive proof that Muhammad was a liar.
That's right.
Your imams that push the doctrine of Muhammad are liars. And you want to go to jail and believe in a lie. You want to go to jail and believe in a lie. You want us to believe that Gabriel came down and gave a new gospel called Islam. Where is that in our records? You got something, Mozart?
So they are trying to make it look like Gabriel can just come and do his will behind the Most High.
That's exactly. That's what I'm saying. Gabriel was a loyal servant. He would never ever, forget a million years, he would never dream of crossing his father, our Father, the Most High God. Salakia, continue.
So, just like the Christian church, the same thing the pastors are practicing. Make it look like when they say you can come as you are, God will accept you so you can do what you do and come.
And this is why we say Islam is Christianity. Islam is no different to Christianity. The two of them make a one. The two of them are rolled into one. And I wouldn't even take Rastafarianism out of that. The Rastafarianism, Christian sanity, and Islam is the same thing. And why are they all the same thing? What do they have in common?
Can I answer that?
Go ahead.
Remember, the Catholic Church established the Muslim Church. If you notice, they have all the same similarity. They're homosexual. They experiment with all kind of things, like animals and things. They say use the same rosary bead and repeat their prayer. When the Most High say you're not supposed to be doing that, rehearsing a prayer is not a part of the script. So you can see from then till now, they still all the same, the trinket of with the way they pray and the way they go about things, full of homosexuality. Because recently they show you that two Muslim man rape a little boy inside of a leaf. We know you call it in America, you call it is that? We call it in England, we call it leaf.
Yeah,
they call it elevator in America.
Yeah.
So you look again at the history of Christianity. Are the same thing they do, the priest, the monk, what do they call them? What do they call them people in the Catholic Church? The Catholic priests. They rape little boys. And they just move them from one place and to the other. So they are always in there. Look in any part of our book, if it ever tell you that it is right to procreate with another man. Never. It is abomination.
There you go. And that's a real heavy point, because that's something that Christianity and Islam has definitely got in common. But what do all three of the three denominations that hold our people, that have stolen our people in numbers the most, Rastafarianism, Islam, and Christianity, what do all three of them have in common?
They started from the same place.
All three of them are damn lies.
Oh.
That's the biggest common denominator between the three that they all share. They're liars. All three of them are liars. One pushes that Jesus Christ was a blonde-haired, blue-eyed devil called Caesar Borgia. The other pushes that Gabriel came, God sent Gabriel, or Gabriel made up his own mind to give the world a new gospel called Islam, and he gave it to an Arab called Muhammad, a pedophile called Muhammad. And Rastafarianism mixed with the Marcus Garvey doctrine and the East Indian doctrine melted together that says the new kingdom is Ethiopia, we're African, we're all Hamites, we're not Israelites, and the Messiah, the real Jesus Christ, was neither an Arab or a European. He was a Hamite, he was an African called Haile Selassie. That's the fundamental thing about the three. All three of them are damn liars. And there's no mention of their records in our records.
That's right.
Which means their records were made up. Listen, these guys really lived. There's history on Caesar Borgia. There's historical facts on Muhammad. And there's historical facts on Haile Selassie. No doubt these three individuals really lived and walked this kingdom, walked in this kingdom and through this kingdom. But none of them were teachers, prophets, or the Messiah. Not one of them. There was only one Messiah. There was only one king, the King of all kings. There was only one guy that came back to save his people, and that was Hamashiach Yahushai, whom the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ.
That's right.
And on top of that, there's only one true God. And his name's not Allah, his name's not Jehovah, and his name's not Jah. And this is why we tell you every week. You know, we tell you this every week. We have these records for a reason. Imagine where we would be without our records.
Oh,
And it just shows you the ones of us that go to jail and convert to Islam have never studied our records in their life. How the hell do you end up going to jail if that's not bad enough and making your life even worse, even poorer, even more profane by converting to a lie, jumping out of one lie and jumping into another lie? Give me Psalms 89 and 34, Baba Kishar. We jumping out of one lie into another lie. And this is what jail has done to our young men, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We're so sick of the oppressor's slave doctrine. We jump in another slave doctrine that's turned us into, what's Islam turned us into? Deluded hypocrites.
drugs dealers.
Deluded hypocrites that make a living off of selling pounds of heroin and pushing it through a building that is supposed to be allegedly a holy place of worship. Bizarre madness. That's your Islam. You know what? Keep that. Keep that, because it's
That's
not
right.
for us, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. It's not part of our traditions and our culture, and certainly not a fake, false prophet from Saudi Arabia called Muhammad. Psalms 89 and 34. Read that, Baba.
Khan. The book of Psalms 89 verse 34. My covenant will I not break.
My covenant, what?
Will I not break.
How much proof do we need? Who wrote the book of Psalms?
David.
King David. So King David's saying, his covenant will I not break. What is the covenant?
The law.
The covenant is a promise, an agreement with who? Two parties. Two parties that come together and have a mutual agreement.
That's right.
Who are the two parties in this instance?
The Most High and the children of Israel.
The Most High God and the children of Israel, not Islam and Allah, not Muhammad and Allah. This is a specific covenant recorded by King David for a specific people that he's referring to. Read that again, Baba
Khan. Psalms 89 verse 34. My covenant will I not break, nor alter the things that is gone out of my lips.
How much proof do we need before we remove ourselves out of the mosque and come back home to Israel, come back home to the Most High God? How much proof do we really need? All our records says the same thing. Our covenant is with the God of Israel. Our covenant is for blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. It's not for Arabs. The covenant was with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, not Abraham, Ishmael, and whoever Ishmael's children were. Are we all understanding this?
That's
Where
right.
the hell does Ishmael and Muhammad come into this? And that's where this starts to sound, Islam starts to sound just like Christianity and the lies that pour out of this denomination.
The abomination.
Read that again, Baba Kishar.
Khan. Psalms 89 34. My covenant will I not break, nor alter the things that is gone out of my lips.
Okay, so King David says, nothing will alter that's come out of his lips. From King David was born, he was a Hebrew Israelite. What was King David when he died?
Still a Hebrew Israelite.
And what tribe was he from?
Tribe of Judah.
The tribe of Judah. In fact, he was Christ's great granddaddy. Where the hell does Muhammad come into this? He's not even of the lineage of Isaac, Abraham and Isaac. He's from the lineage from Ishmael. Muhammad is an Ishmaelite. There's no mention of the Ishmaelites in this book having a covenant with the Most High God. In fact, the Ishmaelites were promised fortitude, a multitude of riches. And Ishmael was promised that his seed through the generations. They were not promised no covenant. They were not promised anything else. And if you look at the Ishmaelites today, the Arab countries today, they've got their riches, they've got their wealth through their oil. And that was given to them by our God. You should give thanks and stop stealing our people and telling lies.
You
got something,
he
Moses?
was promised the 12 princes, and he got the 12 princes, which is a blessing. And the high likewise is an additional part of the blessing. But look what David said in verse 35. Once have I sworn by my holiness that I will not lie unto David. So they come in and lying unto us, tell us that we what Gabriel gave them message. But who did Gabriel answer to? So Gabriel just go and make up him doctrine and say, all right, I'm going to establish one down there. The Most High cannot lie to King David. So King David has no right to lie to us. And whatever was written from then, it still stands today. They get their blessing. They should be happy.
They're not happy. Why are they not happy? Because they know. Just make sure it's plugged in. They know, and then click on that and close it for me, Baba Kashaf. The Ishmaelites, the Arabs, the Islamic world is not happy because they're mad at us. Just like Christianity is mad at us. Just like the whole world is mad at us, because we are, like it says in Deuteronomy 7 and 6, a special people, a chosen people. But guess what? The Arabs were never chosen. They were never chosen. And they're the founders of the original slave trade. So it's not hard to fathom and understand the lies that are coming out of Islam, and they're pushed on our people to this day, and they do it through jail and to our young men. Going to jail in the UK for young Benjamites, especially, and we touch on Benjamites because the majority of Israelites in the UK today are from the tribe of Benjamin, and when young Benjamites go to jail in the UK, what happens is they see these brown faces in Islam and decide that's for them. And that's how it goes generally. That's generally how it goes. There's not a lot of thought behind it. There's food in jail. There's getting out of yourself a bit longer if you're Muslim. So you see, even when you go to jail, you see, in every walk of life, we're punished and persecuted. Even when you go to jail, for a black man or a Hispanic man or a native Indian man to behave like a black man, Hispanic and a native Indian, you're going to be punished and be on 23-hour bang up. But if you convert to Islam in the UK as a young Benjamite, you're going to get out your cell more often. You're going to get perks in jail that blacks, Hispanics and native Indians do not get. Have we ever thought about that? If you're going to get better food on their fake unholy feast days, Eid, Ramadan, they're fasting they don't even fast for 24 hours. That's why our records are so beautiful. According to our gospel, according to our law, according to our records, when you fast, a fast is minimum 24 hours. These Mohammedans, these Muslims, they only fast for 16 hours. They wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning to break their fast. And this is all coming from a false, fake doctrine given to the world by a false, fake prophet called Muhammad that has got no mention in our records. And our young black, Hispanic, and native Indian men and brothers go to jail, and we join this cult, this fake religion, even if it's just to get out of your cell for longer, to get the food, the external food that's brought in. In jail you get a hot plate food, you get a prison food, and you get an exterior, an external food that's brought in. And the Muslims have that luxury, especially around that time of the year where they are doing their fake fasting, their fake prayers, and celebrating their fake feast days of Ramadan that leads to the end of the month, what they call Eid, a fake feast day. And a lot of you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and native Indian brothers jump on the bandwagon of Islam to get the perks.
That's
okay,
right.
no doubt some of you are lost and believe in their false, fake lies, but a lot of you just jump on it just to get out of your cell, just to get the meat, the foods, the sweets that are brought in from outside catering. And that's what Islam boils down to. And that's why our people are lost to Islam. And there's no truth there's no truth in this denomination. There's no backbone to Islam. We can go on a street camp and destroy Islam all day long, every day, with every single page of our records. Every single page of our records destroys Islam. Do you know why? Because Islam's a lie. Just like Christianity and all the other religions, Islam is a lie. Give me Romans 7 and 14, Baba Kashar. Oh, but yeah, so this is a law class, and we've showed you the law regarding Islam, regarding these fake gospels, regarding these fake denominations and religions. You've got no business being in them. I don't know why we stay in them. I don't know what the hell we're thinking, letting our sisters come up on prison visits and pushing this on our sisters who go home and push it on our children. So with the prison systems in the UK are pumping out Mohammedans, who's pushing it, turning your ribs into Mohammedans, who are going home and turning our young children, our young brothers and sisters at home into Mohammedans. And there's no mention of Islam in our records. Imagine that. Lie on top of lie. You got Romans 7 and 12, Baba Kashar. Read that when you're ready.
Book of Romans 7 verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy.
Wherefore the law is holy. This is a law class. So what we're teaching is separate. It's holy. The law is righteous. There's nothing bad in the law of the Most High God. But there's wickedness in that religion called Islam. And it doesn't start in jail, but for a lot of our young brothers, it starts in jail. Read on, Baba Kashar.
And the commandment holy and just and good.
Okay, so if the law, according to the Apostle Paul, is holy, and the commandment is holy and just and good, who the hell is Muhammad to come along and change it? Who the hell does this Arab, who the hell does this Ishmaelite think he is? Who ordained him to come along and turn the world upside down on its head, to steal our young black, Hispanic, and native Indian men and put poison into their minds and hearts? Because that's what Islam is. It's a dose of poison.
That's right.
It's a dose of poison. Read that again, Baba Kashar.
Romans 7 verse 12. Wherefore the law is holy, and the commandments holy, and just and good.
And you know something else? You know this character, this guy, Muhammad, he doesn't even have the birthright of Israel. He's got the birthright of Ishmael. So who the hell does he think to make something that's holy, something that's separate, something that's just and good? Who the hell is he to turn it upside down and make it wicked and evil and unrighteous? Because that's exactly what Islam is. You got something, Moza?
Khan, you see how desperate they are to join your God when your God rejected them from the beginning. So out of their desperation, they come with lies and deception to deceive you from your God.
Damn right.
Because your God don't want them to be a part of you. Is greatness. So he gave them what they're supposed to get in their heaven, and the delusion of their idea are 75 virgins in their world, their heaven. They can't get 75 virgins.
Heavy point.
But
heavy point.
You have to die, go to heaven to get it, while they can't get it here.
And you have to blow yourself up to be a martyr. Let's not forget that, you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. If you want to be a hero in their kingdom, in their new kingdom, whatever it's called, Mecca, Medina, whatever, under the rulership of Muhammad and Allah, if you want to be a martyr or a hero, you've got to blow yourself up. You've got to blow your damn head off and take 100 ops with you. That's what you've got. That's what you've got to do.
Just for 75 wives.
Just for 75 wives, like the brother said. And let's not forget, Muhammad's birthright is Ishmael, like we touched on. He's an Ishmaelite. So how can the unholy Quran be substantiated or authenticated? How do you substantiate the records of the unholy Quran or authenticate the records of the unholy Quran? Yeah, when it's been written by somebody outside of the promise, the covenant, of not of the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Are we not switched on? Isn't it time we turn that light bulb on up here, Israel? You black, you so-called, you young men, you young Israelites so that are going to jail, stay the hell out of jail. Get in your local ISUPK school under the command of General Yohanna. You will never go back to jail again in your life. Trust me on that. How do we substantiate and authenticate something that comes from somebody outside of our family, outside of our bloodline and lineage, that has nothing to do with the inheritance of Israel, the promise, the covenant of the Most High God with his people? How do we put our trust in that? And when you start looking at it for what it really is, you can see how bizarre Islam sounds when you read the truth. You got something, Moza?
It's funny. Who justified their book to make it holy? We know the Lord justified the commandments to holy.
There you go.
The children of Israel is holy because they are separate and special people unto him. So who justified the Quran to be holy? The person who you say is right the Quran died before the Quran even written. Before he could explain any of his prophecy. So who make it holy? Just by word of mouth? That is deception. And this is what our people fall in for.
I'll tell you who did help push Islam after the 6th century. The Roman Catholic Church helped to push it and spread it. But we're not going to go into that now. This is a biblical law class. Let's have a look at the law. Let's see what the law says about our people, about our records, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, what applies to us and our young men and our young sisters and our grown-ass men and our grown-ass sisters, the brothers and sisters in that are of that lineage and birthright of the Hebrew Israelites, the 12 tribes of Israel. These records are for us and us alone. Let's see the comparison with Islam. Let's go to Leviticus 11. Let's have a look at the dietary law. Start at Leviticus 11. Seven's the swine in it, so we won't touch on pig because they copied us and they don't eat pig. Okay, so let's start at verse 9, Baba Kishar.
Aaron Khan. The book of Leviticus 11, verse 9. These shall eat of all that are in the waters.
Okay, so the reason I've come to verse 9, there's a method to my madness. We've come to verse 9 because there's things in our dietary law. There's things in our dietary law that teach us not to eat certain things in the waters, in the ocean, that are filthy to the Most High God. Things that don't have fins and scales, as we're going to read. Okay, so read it and then we'll break it down. Read that Bible, and we'll break it down.
The book of Leviticus 11, verse 9. These shall eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever are fins and scales in the water.
No, everything can be in the water according to Islam.
Whatever has fins and scale in the water
is clean. So according to Moses, who wrote this law, this is a law. The only thing that's clean in the ocean, in the waters, is animals or creatures that have fins and scales. But according to Islam, Islam pushes everything in the water is clean. You see how problematic their doctrine is. Can we all understand? It contradicts Moses. But you speak to your imam, he'll tell you, yeah, we believe in all the records of Moses. Then you'll talk to a young Muslim, he'll tell you, we're taught to believe, or the Quran, the unholy Quran teaches to believe in the records of the Prophet Moses, as long as it doesn't conflict anything in the unholy Quran. Well, guess what? That's why your Quran is unholy, because it contradicts and it does conflict with the records of Moses. Because here in the book of Leviticus, the dietary law, in the 11th chapter, Moses has recorded that not everything in the water, not everything in the sea and the ocean is clean to eat. But you push and teach in Islam, everything in the ocean is clean. God made everything. But hold on, what happened to shrimp, crab, lobster? Don't these filthy animals eat doo-doo off the seabed floor? They go and vacuum the seabed floor and clean up everything and eat all the decretion that the other fish have released from their bodies. The decretion. We all know what decretion is, right? It's doo-doo. And these fish, these clean fish, snapper, brim, cod, haddock, they doo-doo in the sea, and that doo-doo, that decretion, they decrete in the sea like every living thing decretes, and that sinks to the bottom of the sea, and your lobsters and your shrimps and your prawns come along and hoover that up and eat that. And we're supposed to eat that, what has eaten the rest of the ocean life, the marine life's doo-doo. Come on, man. Come on, man. And this is what Islam's pushing. I mean, it's just madness, brother. It's madness. It's bizarre. It's madness. Read that again, Baba Kishar.
The book of Leviticus 11, verse 9. These shall eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales in the water, in the sea, and in the rivers.
Okay, so Muhammad came and pushed massive contradictions, yeah? Contradictions that contradict the truth of Moses. Contradict the records of the prophets. Yet they say they believe in the records of the prophets. How can they believe? How can these Mohammedans, how can Islam believe, these Muhammad followers? How can they believe in the records of the prophets if they don't believe in the laws, statutes, and commandments of Moses that Moses gave the 12 tribes of Israel. This is beyond problematic, brother. You see what I'm saying?
This is diabolic.
It's again, they sound no different to Christianity. It sounds very much like Christianity to me. Oh, the laws are done away with. Well, in Islam, you're not going to do away with all the laws, but you're only going to keep a portion of them. Well, guess what? The Christians keep a portion of them called the 10 Commandments, or think they do, which they still don't.
That's
But
right.
it's all confusion and it's all madness. And it's not in our records. Get me Matthew 7 and 15, Baba Kashar. How long we got left? 10 minutes. Matthew 7 and 15. Read that when you're ready, Baba Kashar. Okay, this is red writing. This is Christ talking.
The book of Matthew 7 verse 15. Beware of false prophets.
No. 7 Matthew.
Matthew 7.
Oh, Salakia.
15.
Yeah. So hear what Christ is saying.
Beware of false prophets.
Beware of Muhammad.
Beware of false prophets.
Read.
Which come to you in sheep clothing, but inwardly they are raven wolves.
Why would the apostle Matthew have recorded this? This is Christ. Why would Christ be saying this? So what do these Mohammedans call Christ? They call him Isa. They say his name's Isa in the Arabic, which is another lie, which we won't get into right now because we ain't got time. But they convert his name in Arabic to Isa, yeah, which is a barefaced lie. Okay, what do they say? They say apart from saying they believe in that he was a prophet and they believe in his records. Well, how can they? We're being warned about them by this very prophet, our king, who was a Hebrew Israelite from the tribe of Judah. From the tribe of Judah. How could he have an Arabic name? And he wasn't an Arab. He wasn't from the seed of Ishmael. Why would his parents have called him Isa, which is an Arabic name? Make it make sense, please. Make it make sense. Islam's all over the place, and this is what we're following. This is what we go to jail and convert to, so-called blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians. Why would Jesus be warning us about false prophets? Muhammad came as a sheep. He came. Read that. I might have lost the verse. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing. So Muhammad, Jesus Christ is warning us about Muhammad here. He's warning us about Geno Jennings. He's warning us about Haile Selassie. He's warning us about all these false fake prophets that come in sheep clothings, and are what? Inwardly, they are ravening wolves. Yeah, they are liars and they are demons. Read that again, Baba Khan.
Matthew 7 verse 15. Beware of false prophets which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
Ravening wolves. And look at Muhammad's lifestyle. He taught a bunch of lies that was not in the gospel. He married a 9-year-old. He lived in a cave. He was a loner. He secluded himself from his own people even. He went around teaching young Arabs who were bewildered and would listen and hang on his every word. Do you have something for us?
You see now, we can go to the book of Matthew 15 verse 24 to show you that he rejected all of these people, and because they're desperate, they know the blessings, They know the blessing that is stored up for us. So for them to get into this, they plan their lies and the deception. But guess what? It ain't gonna work. It will never. Our blessing will never be shared with them.
And what do our records teach us? Precept upon precept, line upon line. Nothing aligns in the Quran, in the unholy Quran. They don't work off of the records of the prophet Isaiah, where to get knowledge, understanding, wisdom, who would the Most High God give it to? Well, guess what? He didn't give it to them. They do not give you precept upon precept, line upon line. They don't align their unholy Quran with hadiths and surahs. It's just a load of confusion all thrown together in a book and studied at the lowest level.
That's right.
And for them to add a false prophet and put the blame on him, well, guess what? That blame can stay there on him because he's the founder of it. He's the 6th century founder of the mayhem, the madness, and the confusion.
That's right.
We give you precept upon precept, line upon line. We give you the correct understanding, and we give you the truth in the ISUPK under the command of General Yana. Give me Matthew 24 and 24, Baba Kashar. We're just about finished up now. This might be the last precept. We might squeeze in one more after this. Matthew 24 and 24. When
the book of Matthew 24, verse 24. Therefore there shall arise false Christs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, in so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect.
Okay, so this aligns with Matthew. This aligns with Matthew 7 and 15. Remember, precept upon precept, line upon line. Matthew 24 and 24. There shall arise false Christs. Christ is telling you himself, because this is in red writing. He's telling you the truth of the gospel. He's giving it you word of mouth, straight out of his mouth. Muhammad is a false prophet. He's a fake Christ. He's false, you know. And it's not just Muhammad. It's not. There's Haile Selassie. There's Elijah Muhammad, Gino Jennings. There's an array of fake, false Christs. But Muhammad is predominant to the story. He's central to this story because so many of our young men, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, go to jail and join his army of confusion. And it's our job to bring you out of that nonsense. It's our job to stop this madness. Christ says, he goes, in so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. Some of you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians lost to Islam are supposed to be in here because you one day could potentially be one of the elect, one of the elite, the 144,000. What the hell are you doing stuck up in that goddamn lie, confusion called Islam? It's just madness. It's madness. We're going to leave Matthew 24 and 24 there because this is a precept we could spend half an hour breaking down. And I've got one more. This destroys Islam. This precept destroys Islam because Islam is trying to take the elect here. They're targeting the elect, the elite. That's what Islam does. That's what Islam does. Is potentially some of our men that are in Islam are potential workers for Christ in the new kingdom, directly underneath him. And a lot of you blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians that are in Islam are not going to finish in Islam. I'm sure about that. We're sure about that. 1 Corinthians 14 and 33. That's where we're going to end. Baba Kishar. Islam's got a lot to answer for. Let me tell you.
1 Corinthians 14:13. 14:13.
Who's that? First Corinthians 14 and 33, Baba Kushar.
And 33. The book of 1 Corinthians 14, verse 33. For God is not the author of confusion.
No, he gave us Islam.
For God is not the author of confusion.
No, he gave us Muhammad and the unholy Quran.
For God is not the author of confusion,
Read on.
but of peace, as in all churches of the saints.
And who are the saints?
The 12 tribe of Israel.
There you go. It's not Muhammad and his band of camel jockeys. It's not Muhammad and his band of maniac suicide bombers.
That's right.
Read that again, Baba Kushar.
Khan. The book of 1 Corinthians 14, verse 33. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints.
But who is the author of confusion?
Muhammad.
Give that a hand. Muhammad is the author of confusion. Our God certainly is not. That's 100. Teaching us blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians to break the dietary laws. That's confusion. Teaching us blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians to break the moral laws. That's confusion. Teaching us blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians to break the civil laws. That's confusion. And teaching us blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians in jail and on road to break the ceremonial laws and keep lie after lie like Eid, Ramadan, and all this other nonsense. That's just evil. That's confusion. And our God is not the author of that. No way, no how, not on any day of the month. Read that again, Baba Kushar.
The book of 1 Corinthians 14, verse 33. For God is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints.
And that's a wrap. That's a wrap. Islam's a lie, just like Christianity and just like all religion is. And we need to stop going to jail and joining this madness and confusion. And the way we do that, the way we combat Islam, is to stop going to jail. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and native Indians, you young men. The way we combat that is to get into your local ISUPK school, whichever city you're in. You'll find an ISUPK school close by, under the command of General Yohana, the home of the truth, and start to learn our records. And it's a circumcision of the heart. You've got to be reborn again. You're going to be like a newborn baby. But this is the very thing that's going to save your life. Not Islam, not the author of confusion. Is there any questions before I call the class?
La awesome.
Any questions online?
No.
Any questions in class?
No. I get the full understanding of that anyway. So,
Come on.
Muhammad, his name is so tarnished because he want to be a leader of a maniac set of people. He raged 80 wars in the short time that he was up on the earth.
Hope you heard that. He raged 80 wars in the short time he was in this kingdom.
And
Muhammad.
because he can't go out in the street and recruit people to join his organization, where do he use the prison house as his office to raise.
Damn right. And with that, the water for that, Uck. And with that, I'm going to call the class. Clap it up. I'm going to hand the class over to Officer Moazar for the security announcement.
Okay. This is the ISUPK security announcement. We are the ISUPK, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rules for new brothers and sisters. When a new brother or sister come into the school, they are off limits for the first 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If
Is
they
everything
need
okay? I've just finished
transportation,
class.
the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months,
Oh, I'm leaving now, so I'll
if
be
a
with you in
brother or
15
sister
minutes.
has an interest in a particular person, he or she
Yeah, put on
must get
heels.
permission from the head to speak
Yeah,
to
put on
a
heels.
brother
I'll
or
call you back in
sister.
2 minutes.
There is another 6 months in which the brother and
Bye.
sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithes, which is a holy commandment. Numbers 18 verse 20 and Malachi 3 verse 8 to 10 means tithes in the Hebrew, mahishara, 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you. Give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like. Upcoming Holy Convocation.
14th of December, the Feast of Hanukkah, or the biblical Feast of Dedication.
Announcement, Holy Convocation from sheet. Remind Akyawat to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boots, shirt, pants, headband, scarf. And with this, we give the priest one courtesy salute. Man of Israel, Imadiam Shabbat, Imadiam Barak, Yahaba Shimya Shai Barakatah,
Yehovah Shim Yoshai Brakadam.
Yazamata, class dismissed.
Do you want to end the stream?
That was a proper class.